Hey guys, welcome back to TCGU University for another deck profile. For this week's Campus Championship, Jeff decided to build Azwel. It's a deck under Void. It's really interesting. He does a lot of cool small combos, but I think it kind of just fell short because it never had a big combo plan. I think the secondary combo plan was mill out, but I don't think that's as cool. Sorry, but so if you enjoy this deck, make sure to leave a comment down below for Jeff. I'm sure he'd love it. So let's get into this profile. Okay, guys. Like I said, this is Jeff's Azwel deck, so make sure to show some love down below. Azwel himself is a 631 all Chaos and Void character. He has two abilities. Your turn, your opponent discards the top 3 cards of their deck. If no attack was discarded this way, draw 1 card, and your opponent discards 5 more cards at the top of their deck. And then commit 1 foundation. Your opponent discards the top 3 cards of their deck. If all of them share the same control, like all of them were foundations with 5 checks, no 4 checks, no 6 checks, this attack gets +6 or -6 damage. Your choice. It's a really cool. I really like his abilities, but he ends up kind of just running into it as a mill character. It makes him a little pigeonholed. But let's get into the deck of what Jeff built. So from here, we're playing 1 Spell Circle. It's a discard card. Like I said, I like his small combos. His small engine is basically he's playing a discard engine. Not going to be super strong. Next format with Pure of Heart. Hopefully something happens with that, or just we don't see Pure Heart and it doesn't do as much as it could. But so 1 Spell Circle. Void Enhance. Your opponent discards 1 card. Pretty good. 3 Revoke. Build easy. Cancel enhances that you don't like. Keeps you alive sometimes. And then 1 Surpass Your Limits. Shout out to these guys. Flip 1 foundation. This attack gets +1 or -2 damage. Or destroy after you block your opponent's attack. Their next check to play an attack card, or an attack gets -X. X equals their next check to play. Their next check to play attack gets -X. X equals the printed block modifier of your block. So say you block with, I couldn't find a cool block in my life. This 3 block. Their next check is -3. There's a bunch of 3s and 2s. Your main cool card is this one. Just sometimes this just turns off an entire turn. And then once per turn, look at the top card of your deck. You may discard it. So basically, you kind of get to mill yourself, but it's mainly to make sure you kind of draw what you need and see what you need. On to the attacks. We're playing 4 Affliction. It's a 4/2. Lets us see the top card of our deck if we have momentum, as well as just we name a card, reveal the top card. If it's the name card, we draw a card. And then the other ability is draw a card, reveal the top card. So if we have momentum, we can discard it to draw a card, reveal the top, and then name that revealed card with Affliction and basically draw 2. It's a cool setup piece to try and extend our turns, as well as it just having, as well as it just has Breaker 1, and is just good defense. For Ein's Brain Scratch, it's a 2 low for 5. Ally Safe Tech. Your opponent discards 1 card and draws 1 card. If the discard card was an attack, this attack gets +3 speed. Or was a non-attack, this attack gets +3 speed. So if they discard a foundation, this attack is +3 speed. If they discard, so it means they have to either block with that new card or block with their attack if they don't want to take this damage. And then discard 1 card with a printed control of 6. Draw 1 card. We play some 6s, I believe. Oh, don't quote me. I see 1 6. I see 1 6. We play a singular 6, boys. So we won't ever really use that ability, but just drawing 1 card would be really cool. We're playing 4 Mop Strike. I think these weren't in order. That's right. Discard 1 card. Your opponent discards 1 random card from their hand, and then both players draw 1. Very strong. Makes your opponent not get to kind of sculpt very well. And then if your opponent has discarded a card this turn, draw a card. Basically, you get rid of a card you don't like, draw 2 new cards, and your opponent discards 1 card they may want randomly, and then they get to draw a card as well. Next, we're playing 4 Bug Spray. Stun 1, safe, reversal 3, high for 2. If this attack does damage, our opponent loses 2. And then E, your opponent discards 1 random card from their hand. If they have 3 or fewer cards in their hand, they draw 1 card. It's just another discard outlet. The discard really works with our Ore Strike. It's a 4 low for 7, Desperation 3, taunt weapon. E, draw X cards. X equals the number of cards your opponent has discarded this turn. So we force our opponent to discard a bunch of cards with our attack lineup, and then draw cards. And then at Deadlock, if you ever play a match of Deadlock, which sometimes you could with Azwel being a mill character, you force your opponent to discard 3 cards. Super, super strong. Next, we're playing for Voice of Reason. Basically, once per turn, both players discard 1 card, draw 1 card. We make our opponent get through their deck as fast as possible. Then we're playing for World Without Battle. It's a neg speed to make sure you can block very well. Same thing with this Fei. It's -3 speed, block really well, live longer, mill your opponent basically. 4 Outworld's Errors to get rid of cards in their deck basically. By removing that 1 foundation, they won't see it again, or they won't be able to do X thing or Y thing. And you just kind of protect yourself as well as limiting your opponent's options. 4 Profane Sanctuary. Both players discard the top 2 cards of their deck. Really strong. Keeps the mill plan open. 4 Quest for Vengeance. 3 low block, 0 diff for 4 to spam. R, card pull. After you block this card, your opponent discards a card. More discard power. Basically says we limit the number of cards in our opponent's hand, as well as making sure they get through their cards faster. 3 TK Mastery, Telekinetic Mastery. Basically check 6s to check 5s, commit 1 for the 6 check to be able to make sure we take less damage or are able to block very easily. 3 Face of a Monster to be able to change zones, neg speed to block very well, and then if at Deadlock we can make them discard. It's very sweet. 2 Whirlite, it's a pseudo It's a pseudo High Seas Adventure. Basically give this attack flash by basically saying, hey, play this Deadlock ability when I'm not at Deadlock. Cool, you can't? Well, I'll pass 2. We'll go to blocks. And just basically make sure our opponent's not able to play their game plan. Onto the one-ofs. 1 Mushroom Experimentation. E, commit your character. Both players discard 2 cards and draw 2 cards. Makes our opponent go through their deck faster, as well as sometimes you just don't need Azwel. And then E, destroy, discard 1 card with the print control of 6. Like I said, so I guess we have 2. This is the other card that's print control of 6. We have 2 of them. And then reduces tax damage to 1. It probably won't happen very often. We'll go to the next 6 checks since we've talked about it a couple of times. Esoteric Yoga. It's a 3 too high with a 6 check. Unique. E, commit or R, commit. After your opponent adds a number of cards to their hand, due to their effect, they discard 1 card. And then E, destroy. This attack is -4 damage, playable while committed. Super strong, basically discards more cards out of our opponent's hand, as well as making sure we have an escape button speed debuff. 1 Pilot of the River Styx. You can only play the abilities on this card if your opponent has discarded a card this turn. R, commit. After your attack does damage, your opponent loses 2 vitality. And then R, remove. After a non-character responsibility is played, cancel it. And then the last card, for Mother Russia. It is a unique 2/4 with a 3 high block. E, destroy. Bring this attack back to printed speed, playable while committed. And then R, commit. After your opponent adds 1 or more cards to their hand due to their non-character effect, they add 1 card from their hand to their card pool face down. Just more discard hate, or more discard options. Thanks again for checking out the profile, guys. Make sure to show Jeff some love down below. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/TCGU University. Subscribe at the $1 or $3 levels, and you'll get to see all of these 1 week earlier. And then if you don't have the money to do that, don't worry about it. It all goes out a week later onto YouTube, so you can make sure to check those out as well. And as always, guys,